Bets live stream. My name is Rob Dauster. That gentleman you see next to me, right there, that one right there,
right here. Sorry,
is Jeff Goodman. Jeffrey, how are you, sir?
I feel like I just saw you.
I know, right?
You know,
story of our life.
But usually I don't have to see you at 1 a.m. like I did last night. I mean, like
it is what it is, man. It is what it is. We got a lot to talk about for tonight's slate. It's actually pretty loaded for a Thursday, so I'm fired up about it. But before we do, let's just kind of touch on some of the big things that happened last night. Arkansas beat up on Alabama. Rutgers beat up on Indiana despite being down by 15 in the first half. We had Tennessee winning a game, kind of getting back on track. Seton Hall lost. Marquette went into North Carolina and whipped up on them. Virginia lost. So for you, what was the biggest takeaway from all of Wednesday night's action? It was a weird night in college hoops.
I mean, for me personally, it was that I was right and you were right about the Virginia Cavaliers, right? I mean, listen, I'm wrong about a lot of things. In fact, one circulated yesterday. I forget his name. The dude who trains a bunch of dudes. He trains Tatum and Zach LaVine. Tweeted out something of a tweet that I put out there on draft night that Zach LaVine, should be in Maine with the Red Claws after he was drafted, that he wasn't ready for the NBA, and he made the All-Star team. So that circulated, so I got crushed for that one, and rightfully so. I didn't think Zach LaVine would be this good, and he's been great. So good job, Zach LaVine. But yeah, we were right on Virginia. You and I have been right on Virginia for a while. I think I've been doing a little bit longer than you, just saying like they didn't have any, like I just didn't. And again, maybe it's because I saw them in person at Mohegan Sun lose to San Francisco, and just say like I'm watching their players in person, saying like this team just doesn't have it. They're decent, and they got Tony Bennett, but ultimately you watch him and you're just like, all right, Jay Hoff, yeah, like Hauser's good, Kihei's good. There are other pieces like Trey Murphy. When he makes shots, he changes their team a little bit, and he did not make shots. They got nothing. Like their big three was all, and it's hardly a big three, but their top three guys, that's all that produced last night. They didn't make any shots. And they've lost 3 in a row now. And again, Rob, as I've said, their best win has come against Clemson all year. I don't understand how they're still going to be in the contention for like a top 3 seed today.
They're not. They should not be. And anybody that has them there, like it's not going to happen, and that's gonna fall away. The reason why they're ranked that high is because of what their record was, where they were ranked in the top 25, the fact that after San Francisco, they didn't really have any atrocious losses, and we could overlook some of the glaring holes on their resume because they had all these metrics. Well, people are starting to figure out that part of the reason why their metrics look as good as they do is because of that like 400-point win over Clemson when Clemson was coming off of the pause. So they're going to come back to earth. Like I don't expect them to get a top 3 seed. And if they get a top 3 seed, like we have something to very, very much be critical of for the NCAA tournament committee. I do want to talk a little bit about Arkansas and Alabama though, because like Virginia is what it is. We don't need to beat that horse.
Okay, that's fine.
We don't need to beat that.
When I'm right about something, I want to be able to,
Yeah, no, you're right. It's just, I mean,
I'm kidding.
How many times, like it feels like every single episode, like we go down this same rabbit hole of, Virginia, you can't do this, that, and third. It's like, yeah, I know. I'm bored by that conversation. I want to talk about Alabama,
because Arkansas is like a new team. Like I feel like people have discovered, including us, have discovered Arkansas in the last 2 weeks because, frankly, they hadn't beaten anybody until 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing with them is that they got Justin Smith back. And when they went on that stretch where they couldn't beat anybody, it started when Justin Smith got hurt. They are 17-2 with him healthy. They are 1-3. They're 1
with that stat.
Is that where did he say that?
He tweeted it out. He did. He tweeted it out.
All right. Well, credit no. You know what? Fuck that. I'm not giving Jeff Borzilla credit for anything. Fuck him.
Wow. Holy crap.
But they're 1-3 without him. And when they lost 4 out of 5, that started when he got hurt. and their 2 worst losses were the stretch right before he came back. The only loss that they have with him is Alabama in the first game that he came back. They got smoked, but he only played 18 minutes. And then they lost at Oklahoma State when I think he had 18 points that game. So getting him back, the reason why he's so relevant for them is he gives them that like front court presence that they don't really have otherwise. Like they can go super small when he's on the floor. They can play him at the 4, which gives them all the kind of matchup versatility. So they're really interesting.
Yeah, and here's the thing with Arkansas that I really like. I mean, again, we know what Muss does with transfers. That's no secret, but I think they've done it's a nice blend, right? Jalen Williams and Moses Moody give them young talent to go with some of those senior the transfers, right? I mean, obviously, I'm a huge Jalen Tate fan. I just love what he does overall. He's not going to get as much credit, but he's just kind of that jack of all trades. And they bring some toughness to the table. So I love what Muss has done. And I think they're a dangerous team come NCAA tournament. I really do. They're playing good basketball. They've got good wins. They've got, again, like a versatile team that can go with a lot of different looks. And, again, Moses Moody is just like an X-factor guy for me because once he gets going, he is tough to stop.
Yeah, they're good. They're athletic. They're, like you said, they're versatile, and they can make some shots. And if there's one thing that Muss can get his guys to do is to kind of play hard, right? Yep. And he also the thing that I do enjoy about him is that he's not afraid of just like running the same thing over and over again and being like, hey, we're just going to get it to this guy and let him rock, and we'll figure it out from there. You know, that's what he did when he was at Nevada when he had the Martin twins. Yeah. That's what he did last season when he had Isaiah Joe and Mason Jones. Is it sometimes your best offense is just give it to your best player and let him go? How worried are you?
Yeah, it's the NBA. You know?
How worried are you about Alabama? Because Alabama at this point now,
I've always been worried. Like that's the thing. You know, I was ahead of the game with them, but that didn't mean that I wasn't always worried about them because of their DNA. Okay, that's the problem I've always had with them. Like Herb Jones, I know what I'm going to get. But the rest of the team, I'm still like, I just don't know. And again, the way they play, you know, kind of allows for some of these nights where if they're not making threes, and again, I've never bought into that they're the second best defensive team in the country. I've just never bought into it. I think they're much improved, but I don't think they're an elite defensive team. I just don't. I feel like the best Alabama, their highs and lows are higher than most and lower than most, right? Their disparity. They're kind of like the like what's the most consistent team that Ohio State, right? Like Ohio State, you know what you're going to get every single night, don't you? Right?
Pretty much.
Like you know. They're going to be in every game. They're probably going to win close games. I don't know if they're going to beat Michigan tonight. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But ultimately, you know what you're going to get out of Ohio State's players. You do not know what you're going to get out of a lot of Alabama's players. And part of it is the style, and part of it is just kind of the way they've been conditioned over the last few years. So I do worry about them. And, again, I think they could be a team that could go to the Final Four and go on a run. And if they're making their threes, and I think they could be a team that goes out in the first round. It wouldn't shock me either one of those at all.
Alabama in the first round?
Yeah.
That's a little aggressive. My big thing with them right now is they just every time that they play on the road, like they're not up for it.
Right.
Here's their last 4 road games. They played at Oklahoma, and they lost that game after getting down. I think they were down 12-2. At Missouri, they were down by like 22 with 6 minutes left in the game and came back and lost by 3 in the game. They probably should have won. They won by 3 at South Carolina when they were like 11-point favorites or something like that. And then they lost at Arkansas in a game where they got down big early again and had to kind of scrape back. And, you know, if it wasn't for Jordan Bruner hitting 4 straight threes at the end of the first half, they would have lost that game by 25.
Yep.
So, yeah, did you see the comment Big Illinois News to message you about?
Yeah, it did. Rob's all over that.
Well, we're aware.
Yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it.
Anyway,
what else? Indiana Hoosiers, horrible loss in the way it went down, terrible. They're up 15. They blew it after blowing the one against Michigan State. So it's not just that they lost at Rutgers, because honestly, if they had lost at Rutgers and been down the whole game, I don't think Indiana fans would be up in arms like they are today. But to be up like they were in both of these games and piss them away, that's the part that has IU fans really, really frustrated. And now you're talking about an Indiana team that is completely, really now at this point, like, I don't know if they're a tournament team or not. They could easily be out. They could be first four. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. I don't think that they are at this point in the tournament. I think right now Indiana's probably on the wrong side of the bubble. And if you I'm bringing up their schedule right now just so I have it in front of me. But if you look at look at what they have left. They get Michigan at home on Saturday. They're at Michigan State on Tuesday, and they're at Purdue next Saturday. Right now, they are 12-11 overall. They're 3-8 against quad one opponents, and they have a quad 3 loss to Northwestern. Now, if they could win 2 of these last 3, like that might be a game changing thing, especially if one of those wins is Michigan. But overall, this is not a great spot for Archie Miller to be in right now. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening with this, but I don't think that they're going to end up getting into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to say at this point. I mean, again, the thing with Indiana is they're so unreliable. Like you have no idea what team's going to show up. So it wouldn't surprise me if they win one of these that they shouldn't. So, again, I feel like this is kind of
the issue is like. So they're actually 2-9 against quadrant 1 opponents. Somebody dropped overnight.
Okay.
And it's not I just the reason why I can sit here and I can say I think Duke's going to get in the tournament, even though their resume is kind of comparable to Indiana, and Michigan State's going to get in the tournament and their resume is kind of comparable to Indiana, is that I think those teams are going to find a way to get it done, right? Like Michigan State, to me, actually has a chance to beat Ohio State tonight because of the way that they match up, the way that they've been playing of late. Duke obviously is playing much, much better. They're probably the second best team in the ACC right now. Whereas Indiana, like, yeah, they got Trace Jackson Davis, but I mean, what the hell else on that roster? Like, what are you nervous about? Like, what scares you about other than TJD? And it does feel a little bit like the air went out of that program last night. Like that was a pretty deflating.
We got to talk about Armand's comments because you know what? I forgot about this, but it's an interesting scenario to talk about. What the hell Roy Williams was thinking playing against Marquette last night? Like I know that you need a game.
Someone dropped that in the comments.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, great call because this is one of those that, and Gary Parrish was the first that I saw that kind of tweeted about it from a media perspective, and he's right. Like, why are you scheduling Marquette? Like on an ordinary year, that's fine. You can schedule Marquette, but Marquette is not even probably an NIT team going into that game yesterday. So what is to be gained from that? I get you want to play a game and you want your guys to stay in shape and all that. Well, either play a tomato can like play a team in the 250s that you're just going to win, because it's not like you're Carolina playing for seed right now. You're not automatically in. And now that loss puts you, I don't know where they are in the net. You got the net up?
Yeah, I do.
Where are they in the net right now?
I'll look at it right now. Keep talking. I'll bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a Carolina team that, again, is not like a lock to get in right now. I mean, they're probably on the right side of it, but you lose that one and you lose a couple more here down the stretch.
Here's their profile. Are you ready? It's actually pretty disgusting. Okay. They're 44th in the net overall. Yep. They are 1-6 against quad 1 opponents. They have a quad 3 loss at home to Marquette, which they got last night.
Yep.
Here are their best wins. Louisville at home, 48th in the net. At Duke, 49th in the net. That's going to end up looking much better as the season goes on. And then it's neutral court wins over Stanford and Kentucky.
Right.
They haven't beaten anybody that's ranked higher than 48th in the net this year.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they shouldn't be a lock. So
I don't think they are. I think that they're very much on the bubble.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think there's a lot of teams. The problem is, even when you look at some of the teams that are projected, like in the 8-9 spot, you're like, how? Right? Like how? I mean, I'm looking here on Bracket Matrix.
I mean, we've discussed this quite a bit before. Like, all it's going to take. Here's what North Carolina has the rest of the year: Florida State, at Syracuse, Duke. If they win 2 of those games, then especially if one of those games is Florida State, then it's not that they're in, but it's like, okay, like now this is a team where it's like, as long as you don't have a bad loss in the conference tournament,
they could be like a 7 seed.
Yes, because with the number of games that have been played, and like they're at 23 games right now. Normally, when you have 23 games played, we're like at the start of February. When you're at the start of February, that's kind of when you're just sitting there like, all right, let's start parsing through this. We can actually have serious conversations about the bubble because we're finally starting to get something close to full profiles. We don't have full profiles. It's just what it is right now. And it's just something we're going to have to deal with, and we're going to have to accept. There's going to be a lot of teams with uglier than we expect profiles getting in the tournament. All right. Do we need anything else? Because I do want to talk about Iowa, Michigan, and make sure we spend quite a bit of time.
I want to talk about I want to start with postseason basketball because I'm going to have money on all of these conference today. All right. There's 4 games in the horizon, and if you don't have money on all 4, Rob, then I'm done with you. I'm done with you. If you don't put all 4, and I'm going all 4 favorites in the horizon tonight. All 4. I'm laying the wood on all 4. And I think Mike Davis, they're pissed off. Remember how the seeding process worked in this?
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like this different formula because it valued kind of who you played, where you played them, those types of things. Well, Mike Davis, I think they got like I don't have it in front of me, but they got like a 5 seed when they were 10-6. Oakland was 10-10 in the league. And Oakland got a higher seed. Oakland got like the 3 and Detroit got like the 5 or something like that. So Detroit's got to play today and Oakland doesn't. Oakland got the bye. So if you don't think the Titans and Mike Davis and his son, who's a hell of a player, by the way, are pissed off having to play Andy Toole and Bobby Morris, you're out of your mind. They're going to run it up on them.
Yep. So the line right now, over courtesy of our friends at Bet Rivers, our partners in this endeavor, is Detroit minus 10.5. I also think that it is important to note that the Waterman kid is back for Detroit.
Yep.
And Jordan Majewski, who's really sharp. If you don't follow him, it's at JorCubsDan, has been kind of tweeting about this, but. When they have Waterman back, like his on-off splits are really, really, really impressive when he's there. And if you kind of look at what he's been doing during league play, all of their struggles were when he was not available. And with him back, they've now won, 10 of their last 12 games, I believe. He's gone for at least 17 points in 3 of the last 4. So like having him healthy is a very big difference for them. So I'm with you on Detroit. I don't know if I love any of the other favorites. Just kind of walk me through where you're at with like Youngstown State. Like what's the thought process with all of these?
The thought process on them was I had it up here and now I'm trying to figure it out. Hold on. The Milwaukee one, was it Milwaukee? Yeah, Milwaukee has beaten. They played IUPUI 4 times, and they've won 3 of the 4.
Yep.
So I just feel like, you know what? It's almost better. Sometimes if you beat the team twice, I get a little bit scared. If you're like 2-0 against them, can you beat them 3 straight? I like the fact they've beaten them 3 of 4, and the 3 wins were convincing. 94-70. Then they won the second one by 8. And then they won the third by 7. So they covered all 3 of those wins. So I kind of like only laying 4.5 with Milwaukee there. And then Green Bay one I like for some reason.
The only problem with Milwaukee is they've lost 5 of their last 6. Right? They started out 4-1 in the league and they just completely fell off a cliff. That said, they have one of the best point guards in the league, and I think you pronounce it Tejon Lucas, whatever it is. The Lucas kid they got at senior point guard.
Yeah.
Love teams in March that have senior point guards, Jeffrey. You know this. you know this.
So we got that. All right, let's move on to the big boy game. The big boy game is the Iowa-Michigan game tonight, and listen, I'll say I think you kind of have a number one seed potentially on the line here, because if Iowa beats Michigan, they're the fourth number one, clearly, and then it's probably the best thing that can happen to the Big Ten in a way if Iowa beats Michigan, because Michigan's already not solidified, but in a pretty good spot to get a number one overall seed right now. And I think if Iowa beats Michigan, they're right there with them. They're not far off, and you still have Ohio State in the mix. So I think ultimately, and again, it's hard to go against Michigan. I mean, they're giving 5 here. I just think it's hard to go against Michigan right now with the way they're playing, with the way they came back from the pause, with the weapons they have, with the fact that they can guard. Like, that's my biggest thing is, I can't wait for this matchup between Hunter Dickinson and Garza. I don't expect Hunter to be able to go toe-to-toe completely. I really don't. But it's going to be fun to watch, and he'll have help.
Yeah, so I love Michigan tonight. I really, really like him for a whole number of reasons, but I'll start with this first and foremost, is that I think Hunter Dickinson is probably the one guy that is the best suited to being able to guard and deal with Luka Garza. Like, because everything that Luka Garza does is about like physicality and strength, and it's a little bit of like bully ball, and there's no he's got a nice touch, but it's not like he's not a ballet dancer, right? He's a bull in the china shop in the post. And I think that Hunter Dickinson is just like, he's strong enough and he's big enough, and he's not going to have to like try to block any shots. Like, all he's got to do is wall up because he's 7'1". You're not going to move him off his spot. And there's a good chance that he could end up getting Luka into foul trouble at the other end of the floor as well. So I really like that matchup for Michigan. I mean, Luka, like you said, Luka's probably the better player, but I think Hunter Dickinson, like if you're trying to like scheme up who you want to be able to try to slow down Luka, it's probably Hunter Dickinson. I also think it's worth noting that both of them are from like the DC area. So I'm sure that they have, I'm positive that they've played against each other before. The other part of it is that when you look at Michigan's wings and the perimeter attack that they have, what makes Iowa so good is their ability to space people out, right? The versatility they have, the Joe Wieskamps and the role that he can kind of play as like a bigger wing, and the fact that they can kind of play 4 guards and they have shooters everywhere on the floor. Well, Michigan has guys that can match up with them, right? You got Franz Wagner at the 3. You got Isaiah Livers at the 4. You can play Shawnee Brown at the 2. If you need to, you can play Eli Brooks and Mike Smith together with everyone to go with a little bit of a smaller lineup. They can match up with all of the versatility that Iowa has. And the thing about like Michigan's perimeter guys is they're just so much more athletic than the guys that Iowa's going to roll out there. So I think that defensively, Michigan really, really matches up well with Iowa. And if you can kind of take away what Iowa does. So I have this theory, Jeff. I wrote about this the other day. Iowa has gone 5 straight games where they've not given up more than 70 points. Since their loss to Ohio State when they gave up 89 points at home. There's this website called it's run by this guy named Bart Torvik. It's kind of like a KenPom style like analytics site. And he has it broken down so you can look at it like based on certain like time ranges and date ranges. So in the last, it's probably now 18 days since that Ohio State loss, like Iowa's been playing top 25 caliber defense. And I have a theory on why. It's CJ Frederick. One part of it is like they very clearly like drilled it because they're rotating better, and their rotations and their switches and everything are crisper.
You would think that's all they're working on right now in practice would be like 80% defense. They don't need to work on their offense.
Yep. Some of it is also just like they're not playing as much zone. They're playing more man, or they're way better in man than they are in zone. That zone is terrible. But the biggest thing to me is CJ Frederick's return, and it's not because he's a great defender. He's the 3rd most efficient player in all of college basketball this season, right? He hasn't turned the ball over. How about this, Jeff? You want to hear an insane stat?
Go ahead.
CJ Frederick has not turned the ball over since December 19th against Gonzaga. He has 0 turnovers in Big Ten play. He has 4 turnovers in the entire season. He's a 50% three-point shooter. So not only is he like elite offensively, but his role and the position that he plays is exactly what you want someone to do when you have a guy like Luka Garza and you're trying to create space. So Iowa becomes that much more efficient offensively when he's on the floor. And Iowa's biggest issue on the defensive end, in my mind, I watched every defensive possession that they played in the last 5 games. That's how crazy I am. I did that over the weekend. Their issue is the transition defense because Luka's so slow, and a lot of times they had Jack Nungy and Luka out there. So their best defense.
By the way, now I know why you don't pick very well, because you spend too much time looking at Iowa defensive possession.
Well, yeah, that's why. But so anyway, when you have their biggest issue is getting back on defense, and now that when you're making more shots and you're more efficient offensively, you get that extra half second with the ball going through the net, less transition. So all that said, having CJ Frederick there makes them better defensively, but I still just think that like being able to slow that down, and I think Michigan will be able to slow them down, will create transition opportunities for them, which is why I'm like, I think you got to be on Michigan in this spot. It's 5.5 right now. Courtesy of our friends over at Rivers. So
I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on your Nebraska plus 15 more than anything right now.
Yeah, we got to be on.
We're trying to lock down some info here regarding Illinois. We can't tell you exactly what it is yet. All I will say is nobody's getting back to me, which is usually a sign of something is going on in Illinois right now. So we are on Nebraska plus 15, and you should probably – I just put it in on BetSports, 3 units, plus 15 Nebraska. So get on that. I just think ultimately if Illinois is without some key player who might have had a facial injury and might be a guy who might be in the equation for National Player of the Year, like it would change how I think about this game and give the Nebraska Cornhuskers a significant advantage and to keep it within 15 points. That's all.
Oh man, Jeffrey.
Trying to help here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm with you. I like that one as well. Is there anything else that you like tonight? We actually have like like I mentioned before, pretty good.
I like this slate. I like it. I'm excited.
So we have USC at Colorado. We have Ohio State at Michigan. We have Oregon at Stanford. We have Boise State at San Diego State. Ohio State at Michigan is really, really interesting to me. You're going to have to watch that game on mute because Robbie Hummel is going to be on the call. So make sure you turn the volume way down.
This is the biggest game he's had all year.
Yeah, find literally anything else that you can listen to other than Robbie Hummel talk about basketball is probably the best bet for you.
Well, they took, the great thing is they took Robbie off the Kansas State beat.
They should have left him on Kansas State. That's better.
They win a game.
Kansas State playing Iowa State this weekend. Like that's the game Robbie Hummel should be on. Forget watching Ohio State, Michigan State, which is something I actually want to see. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
All right, move on to the games here.
Ohio State at Michigan. I actually love Michigan State in this spot. Ohio State, we've talked about it, where their value is their ability to create mismatches because they have like 17 guys that are 6'5", and they play this very kind of like modern basketball style where they want to have shooters and size at every position. Michigan State, as long as they're going with this 4-guard lineup where they got Gabe Brown and Josh Langford and Aaron Henry at the 2, 3, 4 spots.
Yeah,
I'm kind of in on them. I don't think that either of these teams can actually play any defense. So not only am I on Michigan State in the spot, but I'm going to be on the over too. Yeah,
I just think Michigan State needs this desperately. I mean, they need everyone desperately, but this is one that not only do they need, but you go out there and you look at Ohio State, and if you're Michigan State, and you're not like, all right, like where are they so much better than us at any spot? Like they're not. Like Rocket Watts, as you said, if he can, and he did a little bit early in the season, and then he completely regressed, and then Izzo just, basically sat his ass down. But if Rocket Watts can just play smart, still attack and get his own, but play smart and not be a turnover machine and not take, ill-advised shots and poor decision making, he's still super talented. And you add him, and I thought Bingham was pretty good the other day, tough. Again, I just think they're playing with such urgency right now because, frankly, they don't have pressure on them anymore. There's no pressure. Like people were saying, you're not going to make the tournament. So now it's just go out and play. Just go out and play hard. And you beat Ohio State, you're not supposed to.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really like Michigan State there. And again, I think with this new lineup, like they're scoring the ball, they look a little bit better. So yeah, I'm on the over there. Neither of
I
these teams.
still worry about point guard play every day, all day with Michigan State. That's my problem. Ultimately,
yeah, it is what it is. Well, that's what happens when you got Rocket Watson, Foster Lawyer. So, all right, last one I do want to talk about. Do you have any takes on USC at Colorado? USC right now is getting 3 points. The total there is 136. Jeff, I don't know if you know this. And I'm not sure if we talked about this, but USC has a guy named Evan Mobley who is he's according to my sources, like he's good at basketball. Did you know that? Like, had you heard about that?
Has Evan Mobley do you think Evan Mobley's ever played in the Colorado altitude yet?
I would doubt it. Well, no, let me take that back. I'm sure that he
Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
He might have. Yeah, he probably did, but I don't know. I don't remember the Olympic stuff, but whatever. Whatever the case, all I'm telling you is we've been through this before. Colorado, like the home court advantage part of it, for so many teams, you throw it away a little bit this year because of fans. Colorado, the home court advantage never had anything to do with fans. It's all about altitude. So it stays. And to me, again, Colorado is the number one team in the country over the last 7 years in terms of home road disparity in league play. So I will take Tad Boyle, Colorado, McKinley Wright. I think they win this game, and I also think they win it because USC coming off that win against Oregon, they might be feeling themselves a little bit more than they should.
Yeah, I think I am with you on the Colorado play, but it just does not feel comfortable because I really do think that like USC is actually really good. I'm a little bit worried about. I don't know if they have someone to deal with McKinley Wright. But like, if you want to like dial up someone that can kind of take away a little bit of what Evan Mobley does, especially in the paint, it's someone like Evan Batty. Although like the same, along with the same line of thinking, like Batty is able to take advantage of him in the post because like he's so big and strong. But the length there, so like that one kind of is a stay away for me. I think, although like if I'm going to have to be on something, it'll probably be Colorado just because of like you said the home court advantage. The one X factor, Taj Edey. West Haven's finest, Jeffrey.
Who's finest?
West Haven's finest. Taj
really?
Edey.
From West Haven?
Yeah, it's from West Haven. Went to Notre Dame West Haven before going to prep school. I believe he didn't have a Division I scholarship offer when he left high school. Now he's a 1,000-point scorer playing for a top 15 team that might end up winning the Pac-12. So shout out to him, man. West Haven's finest. You know I love these Connecticut guys.
He goes to that pizza place that you tout.
I'm sure he does.
Right.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that he does. You can't be from New Haven or not.
Everybody in New Haven goes to that pizza spot, right?
Well, first of all, there's like 7 pizza spots. Second of all, it's the best pizza city in the entire planet. Third of all, why would you go anywhere other than New Haven for pizza? Bottom line. It's the truth.
Good point.
The guy on Barstool that does the all of those like pizza review things has said the best pizza he's ever had is in New Haven, Connecticut. So like, who are you going to trust other than the guy that's built an entire brand around eating pizza?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't trust him, period. So anyway. All right.
I trust him on pizza. He's got a good opinion on pizza.
Yeah. I mean, he's eating a lot of pizza, but that doesn't mean just because you've eaten a lot of pizza doesn't mean you know pizza.
Just so you know, the reason why I know you've never been there is because you're not pronouncing it right. It's not pizza in New Haven. It's Abitz.
All right, whatever. Anyway. All right. I like Western Kentucky against Houston, by the way. I do.
Oh, man.
We've talked about this. What people don't know is Slick Rick, Stansbury, and Kelvin are boys.
Yeah. And that's what's that line? I don't have it in front of me. I can't find it on the
12.
11 and a half. I just refreshed the Bet Rivers page. It's 11 and a half. Yeah, 11 and a half. I guess. Like actually, I don't think people realize how talented Western Kentucky is. Right. So I'll be on that one. The other one that I like is I'm getting back on the Belmont bandwagon.
All right, that's good. All right, what do you think about Minnesota at home today? Like it's the ultimate must win against a Northwestern team that has just been pummeled and over and over and over again. Like
4.5.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is like Minnesota has to win this game. Like there's no choice. If they lose this game, they're out. They're out.
My only concern with that is
The health.
Yeah, it's like, do we know Liam Robbins is
I'll find out if they're playing or not. Yeah, I'll find out.
But even if not, like,
right.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to be on Minnesota there. 4.5. Yeah.
Right?
I'll ride with you on that one, Jeffrey.
What else? I kind of like Oregon in a bounce back at Stanford. I don't love it, but I kind of like it there. Like they were so bad in that first half. Again, it was like they were point shaving. And they came back and played them even in the second half. And Stanford, I just feel like is like one of those teams that just isn't going to get it back together. You know, they had so many. We've talked about it. I like Oregon in a bounce back spot here. That's all.
Yep. So let's end with this. What are your 3 favorite bets of the day, or do you have a favorite bet of the day?
I'm still want to get a little bit more information about Illinois. Okay, so like to me, I like it right now, but I still want to make sure on Illinois and the information, the intel that you turned me on to.
I want to make sure that intel means that someone's going to be out and not that someone's just going to have.
Exactly. Yes, agreed.
Yeah. So that's what
I'll take Colorado. I'll take Colorado. I'll take Minnesota, and I will take Detroit. Those are my 3 favorites. I
like the 3 schools in Michigan that we discussed. I like Detroit laying 10.5.
Yeah.
And I'm putting them all in on BetSperts right now. So follow us. The best way to get updated info on the Nebraska-Illinois line is follow us on BetSperts. And as soon as you see something change in there, turn on the notifications. As soon as we get info on that, like I promise my bet's going to go in, and I promise I'll put it on BetSperts whether or not I can officially report anything. So, Jeffrey, I like Detroit. I love Michigan. And I'm going to be on Michigan State. I'm probably going to be on the money line with Michigan State in the over. That's where I'm at.
All right. There you have it. Should be a good night. I mean, I feel like every night now, from here on out, I feel like every night's going to be interesting because, again, you've got tournament games. You've got some key matchups. Everything matters now. So this should be fun here. I mean, 3 weeks from today is the first 4. I can't believe it. 3 weeks from today, I'll be in Indianapolis watching Duke play Michigan State in the first 4.
Yep.
You have no idea what I just said.
Oh, I was listening to you.
Now
I'm ending the stream. So I
all right, listen, wait, before you end it, thanks for all your submissions. For everybody that wants to be on the show, we're going to try to do 1 a week. Okay, we're going to try to do 1 a week if we can for the next month or so.
Ding, there it is. What is that? What do we got? Anything good?
I'm trying to get some info. I'm trying to get some intel here. It's not easy to get intel at 9:49 in the morning. Okay, not as easy to get it at 9:49 in the morning. So I'll have it soon. But again, thanks for your submissions. We'll try to get to as many as we can, and then we'll figure something out in the off season. We'll figure something out. So again,
we're gonna have to bet on something. So
yes, we're gonna bet on I don't know which hat I wear. Maybe